We'll call our meeting to order. If you will, please stand, and Mr. Axlock will lead us in our prayer, and then Mr. Mays will lead us in our pledge.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father God, we just come before you, Lord, thanking you for letting us be here tonight at this meeting. Lord, I pray that you watch over each individual here, that you bless us. Lord, bless us as we discuss the business of the school system and what we need to do with everything that's going on, God. I just thank you for that time. I want to pray a special prayer for Todd, thankful for his life and for him being home now. Lord, I pray that you continue to watch over him. Lord, and just watch over us the rest of the school year and pray that we do everything that's in pleasing and thy sight. And you just take care of all the needs that we have in this system and in each one of our lives, God. We give you the glory for it. In Jesus' sweet name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everyone to our February board meeting. We appreciate everyone's attendance. We do have Ms. Vonda Weir on the phone, on a conference call, Mr. Todd Upton, and Mr. Nathan Sherrill as well. So we appreciate those folks being able to join us. We'll move into item 3 on the agenda. Approve the minutes of the January 9th, 2025 regular session as received. Motion by Mr. West. Second by Mr. Henson. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 4, approve the agenda for the February 13th, 2025 regular session as you have in front of you.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. West. Second by Mr. Henson. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to our public comment period. I don't believe we have anyone signed in to speak on any action items on the agenda, so we will proceed. Brings us to item 6. Consider risk management trust renewal for 2025-2026. We have a couple of gentlemen with us here tonight. Fellas, I'll just turn the floor over to you. I don't know who's the speaker of the hour, but
Well, I'll get started till he kicks me. Thank you. My name's Tom Montgomery. I'm with Tennessee Risk Management Trust. This is Chris Dykes. Some of y'all recognize Chris. He's been here doing a lot of safety training. He's our safety supervisor and he's account executive. Just a little history. I've been here before. This is the second time I've been able to talk to your board, and I want to thank you for letting me come chat with y'all a little bit. I was here with one of our loss control guys too, so it's not my first time up here. A little history. The trust started in 1987 with 13 schools. There was a law that was passed in about that time, but prior to the law in 1973, schools and public entities like y'all couldn't even be sued in Tennessee. Around there, in the 80s, it got to be where most traditional insurance companies did not want to insure a school or a sheriff's department, so there was just a real crisis about insurance. And we started in 1987 with 13 schools. We're enabled under the same law. Y'all are familiar with probably government tort liability cap. In Tennessee, y'all as a school, a public entity, have certain immunities. You can't be sued for just anything like an individual or a corporation or a private business. And there's liability caps. Right now, those caps on your $300 per person, $700 for the whole accident, and $100,000 on top of those two for property damage. There's a law, by the way, that's being proposed that increases those numbers by 150%. I don't think it's got legs, but that's one of the things we're lobbying against is if all of a sudden your exposure under state law is twice as much, I'm paying twice as much, and you know what it means I gotta charge. So we're watching that, and it's HD 0004 if you wanna mention it. That's not a good one to your representatives. But we started with 13 schools in 1987. Today we have 105 or 6 schools. In about 2002, we branched out and we also insure 36 full counties. And we've got a total of 210 members, I believe, few utility districts, that kind of thing. So we've just grown, makes us more stable. Get to the insurance market today. I know that Ashley handed out a piece of paper that shows you what our increase has been over the last few years. And it's clear, gone are the days, 5 years and 10 years ago, where I would've told Ashley, 3 or 4 or 5% should, I just gotta cover inflation. Well, some of those numbers don't, 13% didn't hit inflation in a couple of those years. And I will say, that kind of ignores what more y'all have to insure up here. Your payroll goes up a little bit every year, our property values go up, even if you haven't added a new school, I don't think you do, it costs way more to build a school. The last school, one of our members, Anderson County, told Chris yesterday,
Yes, sir.
they've been working on a school that's gonna be finished next few weeks, $350 square foot. So, I really need to insure this building for $350 a foot. If, God forbid, you hit a tornado hit it, I can't put back a used building. I got to have all new construction and there's tear down, so every year, you know, we have an appraisal process. We have an appraiser, a vendor that we pay, he comes and looks at your buildings every 3 years. So, he's increasing that with inflation. That's part of my cost. We also know, you don't have to be a nerd like me to watch the Weather Channel all the time, but storms are coming east. We incurred it first because back in 2020, we insure Wilson County schools. They had a tornado in late March of 2020, hit 2 schools that ended up, cost us about $70 million. 5 weeks later, one of our other members, Hamilton County, got hit with a tornado, cost us $25 or $30 million. And that was kind of the start. We got broken in early. Some of these other insurance companies and more storms have come, so my costs have gone up just to keep up with the costs that I've already mentioned to you, but we also buy excess insurance. We collect, and I'll tell you a quick story, we collect, I think it's up to $80 million now from all our members every year, July 1st. We have to pay claims with that, we pay our salaries and benefits, all your overhead and rent, just like y'all are clear with, but we go out and buy excess insurance. I don't wanna sit here with you collecting $80 million a year and have an $80 million or a $25 million loss. We buy excess insurance. We got 3 or 4 carriers we deal with. On property, it's Travelers. Y'all have all heard of Travelers, they got commercials, they got the umbrella, one of the biggest, strongest insurance companies in the world. They back us up on a property claim. Before the 2020 loss, they would pay any claim. If y'all had a loss of $500,000, we'd come pay it, and they'd pay me back $400,000. It only cost me $100,000. Now I paid my premium for that. But when it rolled around 2020, they said no more. My retention, my deductible as a pool went up to $100,000, to $1 million. Okay? And my premium went up a lot too. I just couldn't even get a lower SIR, is what's called self-insured retention. A year later, they came and said, oh, and if it's windstorm or hail, it's another $1.5 million. So if we get a windstorm or hail claim in any of my schools or counties, I got a $2.5 million deductible I gotta pay first. And then they'll reimburse us up to whatever it costs. And bear in mind, a storm could be, and you know, we run east-west, or west-east, storm comes across, you know, I've got Tipton County, and then Dixon County, and White County, and say y'all, and Anderson County, that's one storm, and that all adds up. So, I got a $2.5 million deductible that I have to eat, y'all's deductible's $500, okay? So I have to fund not only paying the higher expenses and the appraisal values and expenses, I gotta pay higher excess premiums. My alternative, of course, would be to say, hey, Clay County, y'all got a $100,000 deductible if you have a storm. What would that do to you? Now, I might be able to get away with that in Hamilton County, maybe Wilson County, y'all can't afford that, and that's what we're here for you. So I'm funding that to where you don't have to. It's one of the reasons, one of the big reasons that my expenses have gone up, premiums gone up last few years. The one insurance company that we have seen go to school in the last 5 years was Liberty Mutual. And that agent's called on y'all. He calls on everybody every year. They came in dirt cheap. They had me a little nervous. We lost a couple accounts to them because they came in and wrote, especially the property was at a price we couldn't touch. Well, last year, it came back to haunt them. they told all their agents that the minimum premium increase is gonna be 25%. That we're not gonna pay to replace a roof. When the storm tears up a roof, I'm gonna pay actual cash value, this is Liberty. Meaning, if you get a roof claim and it's $500 to fix your roof, I'll replace it for $500,000. They're gonna depreciate that roof depending on how old it is. Let's say they pay you $250,000, okay? But you have a 2% deductible per building. So if the building is insured for $10 million, your deductible on that windstorm is $200,000. So $500,000 claim, they're only gonna pay you $250,000 minus $200,000 deductible, and it's a minimum of $100,000. So you might, a smaller building is gonna stop at $100,000. Plus they have a $100,000 water damage deductible. So they're passing on what I'm eating, if you will, the collective premium, so y'all don't suffer a big loss. That's what's going on in the insurance industry for the last few years. I hope that explains why my price has gone up. We are a not-for-profit or a public entity, just like y'all are. We have a 9-member board. David Jones from Hancock County, he's the school board chairman up there. He's been on the board since we started. So there's 9, they serve 3-year terms. We get together 4 times a year, just like y'all do, and have a meeting, and they've decided we wanna keep our deductibles affordable, let's take it to our small schools. I wanna just rattle on. So y'all tell me if there's a direction you want me to go, if there's questions. Chris got a few comments that I'll ask if there's any questions about anything I've said or anything else, and I'll be sure we cover. I wouldn't ask you for it if you didn't need it, you know what I mean, it's just pay the bills.
Right.
Chris, you got,
You would propose that we would have no changes in deductibles, anything like that, is what
I
you're
will
saying?
change your coverage a bit, I will tell you, Travelers is the proper company we do with property. On liability, we deal with a company called Great American. And this is the same story I told when I was here 7 or 8 years ago. I meant to ask that, actually, she knew when I was here, but it's been some time. And we haven't changed these carriers. Our relationship with them is helpful, because when we have storms, we have a big loss, they don't run off. Great American, y'all, anybody a Major League Baseball fan, where Great American Ballpark is, Cincinnati, that's Great American Insurance. Not as famous as Travelers, but just as big and strong. They've got our liability. We have a big liability claim. The pool absorbs the first $300,000, and Great American will reimburse it. We do the same thing on work comp. There's a company called Chubb, again, a big, strong company like those two, not a household name. But on the comp, we have a bad comp claim, they reimburse us after it's $1 million. That's how it works. I'll let Chris have a few comments, and then
Like I said, I do loss control, come do training every year. I know I've been on some playgrounds. You know, with Tennessee Risk Management Trust, we try to be more than just an insurance company. You might leave me for price, but you ain't gonna leave me for service. So we're here all the time. It looked like 2 years ago, we did a grant to help with some playground access kind of things. I think that was around $10,000. But again, we only handle public entities, and this is our specialty. Yeah, we know the increase is there, but I know, Ashley and I were talking about, you're still $5,000 off your $50,000 minimum. Well, every time your salaries go up, the workers' comp has to offset that too, because it costs us more when they're out of work. All that being said, guys, we appreciate you being with the trust. I think we figured out it was since 1989. You might have jumped out 1 or 2 years in there. But we greatly appreciate your business, and again, we want to serve you and be your partner in a lot of these things. Any questions for us? Well, I got the big boss here. I'm through enough. Y'all can grab me and Ben May, or at least the ladies standing around.
Chris made me think of something I was gonna say when he said you might lose it for price, and I kinda alluded to that carrier which come to Liberty Mutual was so cheap, and it's come back to haunt them. They've all been pulled out of the state. One of the accounts we lost was Robertson County, had them for years. We got them back this year.
We added 5.
We wrote 5 new schools this year. Not all brand new to us, but a 3 of them were left and came back. If somebody, by definition, should not beat our price in the long term, they might come in and, you know, like, if you go to Sears, they might have a rocking chair on sale, but they marked it down to lose because you're gonna buy a couch and bed, you know what I mean? They do that, and it's come back to haunt them. They all pulled out. So, like I said, we wrote 5 last year, and they didn't even show up in any of the 5.
And because we are concerned about your price as well, one thing we just brought up talking to Ashley about,
you know, if we've got any old buildings that we can change to stated value and get your total insured value down potentially, I know this gymnasium seems to be a sweet spot in the county, but at the same time, it's costing you money to insure this thing every year. And I don't know that it can be repaired, but maybe moving forward, that's something we can change. I don't know what we insure it for currently, but maybe 25,000, cause that might be what it takes if a tornado hits it to finish cleaning it up. And maybe there's some opportunities for us to offer you some savings that way. But again, that might be minimal, but I don't want you to have to pay $1 more than what you should. So just looking for opportunities and trying to talk to her about that, so. Like I said, we appreciate your time. Ashley, of course, knows how to get a hold of us. We're happy to come back anytime and discuss anything, but we appreciate you.
We appreciate you guys being here. You know, it is a big ticket item for us.
Yes, sir.
And we've discussed it in the last couple years. And with the increases, we thought it was prudent just on our part to at least have a conversation.
Absolutely.
Again, we're open to, I'm sure we're open to any solutions that you can provide to,
Like
in
I
your
said,
opinion,
Yes,
save some
sir.
funds. So we appreciate you guys being here, and I'll say that, you know, we don't see what you guys do on a day-to-day basis, but I know talking to Ashley and Ms. Monroe and everybody involved, we appreciate the customer service.
Good.
I know we were talking a story today. I know at one time, I think probably before me, maybe not David, we did leave at one time and go to a local provider. And then just the headache that presented on some of our office folks was terrible. But you guys have been great to work with, and we appreciate you being here tonight.
Yeah, all of our offices, all of our claims are handled out of Hendersonville. I know that's still 100 miles away, well, 60 some odd, but it's not Connecticut. And if you call and you need an answer, there's somebody there that can answer whatever that question is without going, the top man is there, or the top lady. So, yes, sir. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for coming tonight. You're more than welcome to stay and pick apart our agenda tonight as well. But
We're gonna go ride some country roads.
well, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Be careful.
Hey, thank you. Thank y'all very much.
Thanks again. Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Did they give any kind of dollar amount about how it's gonna go up, how much? Cause I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, actually, it'd give us some numbers here. Our premiums for 2024, 2025, well, let's go back to 2023, 2024. They're $161,545. In 2024, that went up to $183,897, which was almost 14%. This year in 2025, 2026, the year that we're proposing on would be $207,000, almost $208,000. That's a 13% increase. Mark can probably speak to those increases as well as anybody.
The whole industry has gone up. That seems a little high. It's 8 to 9 is what the nationwide industry is saying. Is that 13%? Is that what I'm
Right.
saying that?
Yeah.
But that's right there.
Yeah.
We pay a lot anyway.
Between 45 and 50,000 in 2 years.
Right, about 50,000 in 2 years, the last 2 years. You know, one reason we wanted to bring this before you, obviously with the price increase, but we had to get out in front of it just a little bit. If we have the option to bid this service, I'm sure that Tennessee Risk Management would present a bid. In conversations I think that Ashley's had with them, I don't know that, you know, they're gonna beat that price on this paper, $208,000 by much. It probably is what it is at this point, and he laid out a number of reasons why. But if we do go to the market, maybe we get a cheaper price, maybe not.
The bid process for this is not to be taken lightly. It is horrific, but if that's what you guys choose to do, we'll just have to do the work on our end to do it. I do know when they left the last time, that whole year was an absolute nightmare. Our office cannot take what they had to do that year You'll just have to hire somebody to go with it if it comes down with that bid. So, because what they were doing, workers' comp and student claims were all being handled in this house, not theirs. So all the medical bills, dealing with the doctor's offices, all of that. At the end of the day, now we've sent everything, and then they just made a payment. So all of that was handled out in here, rather than at their place, and there is no way that we can keep up with that. We have student accident almost every day of our life, it seems like. And workers' comp claims, we have those more and more every day, so.
So if everybody, whatever you guys wanna do, we can undertake the bid process, but that's why we're bringing it to you in February, because it is cumbersome. And we wanna make sure that we're getting apples to apples.
I just think we need to be reassured, you know, this is gonna be a reoccurring cost, so we need to be watching our P's and Q's.
Sure.
If you bid it out, it's a headache. I don't know, you said you had to do that. You gotta, and I've done things like that in the past. Like on, I don't know if it's is that a vehicle just built? I apologize, I had to go out. But, is that all buildings?
That's
Personal
buildings,
property,
property,
vehicles?
Workers'
work
comp.
comp.
If somebody come in to bid that, they wanted to quote that, they're gonna have to have, we've got it, I know, somebody can get it, serial numbers for everything, square footage, your bill. It's I know it's a headache. And ever who comes in to do that, it's gonna, the whole industry, it's like one company's not gonna be, they went up too. Every insurance company went up.
Right.
So, that's high.
If you bid it out though, you don't know
That's
what
high.
kind of service you're gonna end up getting in the long run down the road too.
But-
You know what we got with these people.
I would say, I would make a motion to keep that. I get it, I see that, good grief, Mark, that's ridiculous. There's a lot though. I make a motion to keep that,
I'll
to keep
second.
them.
We have a motion on the floor to, remain with Tennessee Risk Management, our current provider, by Mr. Ashlock. And that's been seconded by Mr. West. I'll say, I think it helps, just letting them know.
Yeah, they realize we're keeping an eye on it.
We're keeping an eye on it. We've not done that in a few years, but, I think,
No, a lot of companies too, Ashley, I don't know if you talk with them, they will give you a credit if they think, just cause the greedy nature of everything anymore. Insurance companies much as anything. But, they can give you a credit,
They do on workers' comp.
okay.
They do. Now, what the buildings are appraised for, it just is what it is, you know,
Right.
but on workers' comp, yes, if we estimate those salaries, and then our salaries that come in, they do an audit in, November, December to see what those salaries turned out like, and then then they give us money back if we pay too much, or if we didn't estimate enough, say, sometimes a bonus gets us, if we ever give a bonus, cause we don't expect that, and then when that happens, we'll have to pay in, but
Lots of
probably in the
companies-
18 years I've been here, I think I've had to pay twice.
Lots of companies will give you a 10% credit on buildings and things too.
How they do it is they give it to us on the front end, it's a 2% discount, but in saying that, that kind of money is helpful, but, I think it's 2, I believe it is, but you gotta pay it by July, I think it's the 10th. So we paid, that's the first check we write coming out of the new year.
Whether they do or not, that's still probably good, but you might want to say, hey, can you give us a credit or something? Because they might, we're really thinking about moving,
Mhm.
and we may.
But
You know.
if we build a new building or something like that, that 2% should cover the increase, what she's talking about, right?
Right.
That's almost kind of comes in.
and it be complete. So again, we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Ashlock to remain with Tennessee Risk Management, seconded by Mr. West. Any discussion? If not, we'll call a roll. Mr. Ashlock? Mr. West? Mr. Henson? Mr. Mays? Mr. Melton? Mr. Lynn? I vote aye. Mr. Sherrill? Mr. Upton? And Ms. Weir? Motion passes. Again, I appreciate everybody's consideration on that tonight. Item 7, consider the purchase of a vehicle for the CTE program with ISM grant funds. You have a copy of the proposed vehicle. Mr. Monroe, would you want to address that, or Ms. Kim, or anybody?
Ms. Kim or Ashley, Ms. Kim, what do you have to say?
Well, first of all, I wanna thank you all for helping us with our CTE building, we appreciate that greatly. In the ISM grant, we did write in there for a CTE vehicle, and, the things that we were looking for were, we'd like to have at least, an 8-passenger vehicle, something that will pull our trailer, and then something that David Emerton felt comfortable working on. So, Ashley talked to the auditor and she told us how to go about talking to the dealers there. And, so I called all the people, and after I found out what they had available to, that we could purchase, the Suburban was the best option. So, I do know it is expensive, and this grant, you know, will pay for it. Generally, you don't find grants that pay for vehicles. And I do feel like, and I know y'all helped us on the building, but I feel like in this grant, we've purchased things that are gonna help the school in the long run, or the whole school system, like a bus and the modular unit at KA, renovating Harmony Springs School, the building there. We've been able to buy a lot of Chromebooks, Chromeboxes, things like that to set up computer labs. So, I know that's a concern, but I feel like that would kick in and help. And also, I know there's probably concern over taking care of this vehicle, but we plan on this vehicle only being used by the CTE teachers and administrators up here. We've talked to other school systems to see how they were handling it, and the CTE director was keeping the keys and the calendar, and that's all that could use it. That's the only people that could use it. Overton County, they also got 2 Suburbans, and that's the process of their, Macon County got, 2 Yukons. Jackson County, most people got 2 vehicles. So, Amanda, is there anything you could say? Amanda's.
The addition that I'll add to that is currently the only way that we have to pull the trailer that we have purchased is with our personal vehicle. And if we use any kind of mileage on that, the funds for that mileage to reimburse us actually come out of the same account that cover our student registrations. So for us, like, we just eat that cost, like, that's on Matt and I personally, because we would rather do that than it come out of our student accounts, for their registrations, because just like for state convention this year, we've already tapped maximum of what we can use for student registrations. So our kids are paying that out of pocket already. And that's just not something that we're willing to do, is take funds out of that account, but it is a little bit of a stress on us, just, you know, from that aspect. And as far as just reliability, I'm getting ready to take 4 teenage girls to UT Martin, here in a couple months, and I would really like a safe vehicle that I don't have concerns about to make those trips. Like, that's a huge reassurance on our CTE department.
Ms. Amanda, if you don't mind, how many trips do you think we could utilize this vehicle on?
Well, I know this year, we've used the school vans as much as possible. A lot of times we have anywhere between 15 to 18 students that are attending conferences or camps with us, and when that's the case, 3 vehicles, you know, is what it takes for us to haul. And so a lot of times what we'll do is we'll take 2 of the school vans and then our personal vehicle if we need to haul anything extra. I would say this year alone, we've probably taken at least 6 to 8 trips where we've taken school vans that this would have been utilized and would have been highly helpful and beneficial to our programs.
Thank you.
Make a motion to purchase the vehicle for the CTE program with the ISM grant fund.
Motion by Mr. Melton, second by Mr. West. Any discussion?
that be available for anything else on the school proposed or approved?
It's just for CTE, cause we plan on using this thing for 10 to 15 years.
It'd be kept on the grounds here.
Yes.
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 I would, Angie.
Yes, sir.
I would like to ask Mitch Monroe to, have someone be in charge of the protocol to make sure that they get clean and not like those vans are. And the trash and who tries it, make sure they clean it out. Because we're gonna buy a new vehicle, we need to take care of it.
All right, Miss Amanda, Mr. Matt, will you all take care of that? Miss Kim, you'll oversee that as you're taking care of the schedule and the keys. All right, they said they would, Mr. Sherrill.
Okay, as long as they're signing something, say that they will, that's fine with me.
Well, the one thing that I will say too is, I mean, as the CTE program, that limits the amount of people that are gonna be using that. So keeping it clean and maintenance would be a whole lot easier when you have a limited amount of people that are having access.
Here we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Melton, and seconded by Mr. West. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call a roll. Mr. Melton?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Aye.
Mr. Henson? Mr. Mays? Mr. Ashlock? Mr. Lynn? And I vote aye. Mr. Sherrill? Mr. Upton? And Ms. Weir? Motion passes. Again, appreciate everybody's consideration on that. Ms. Kim, thank you for all your work. I know that's not been, easy to manage, but we appreciate all your homework on that. And, Ms. Amanda, thank y'all for doing what you do. We'll move to item 8, consider the following non-faculty volunteer coaches for 2024-2025. A, Ethan Reagan, Cake County High School baseball assistant, volunteer, non-paid. B, Matt McLaren, Salina K softball head coach, non-faculty paid. C, James Baxter, Salina K assistant, volunteer, non-paid. And D, Parker Donaldson, Salina K baseball assistant, volunteer, non-paid.
Guess these coaches have completed the training, all of them.
Mr. Edwards, that's correct.
Yes. You recommend them,
I do.
motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. West,
Second.
second by Mr. Mays. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to our principal's report. Ms. Conrad?
Thank you all. Her positive engagement, our 8th grade class traveled to Clay County High School for the first annual college and career fair. They had the opportunity to visit over 60 booths and gain information about future job opportunities. We would also at our school like to welcome Miss Robbie Phillips. She is our new behavioral intervention therapist. She'll be working with our 4th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We do have Miss Kristen Smith for our 5th grade, and we have Miss Sheila Hensley that covers our pre-K through 3rd grade. So all our classes at Hermitage Springs are covered with behavioral health services. In our education, we have begun our new program with Gear Up, working with our 6th and 7th grade. We are excited to welcome Miss Cassandra Abbott to our school. She is this group's Gear Up advisor. She'll follow them until they graduate high school. So that's exciting and new. For sports, we have 3 students from Hermitage Springs who were chosen to be participating in the basketball all-star games at Cookeville High School this Sunday at 1 o'clock. I know we do have several from the county, so that's really cool. School improvements, we've ordered 5 picnic tables for our front porch. These will be used for our students to eat lunch when it warms up outside. Also, our concrete was poured for our new Clements courtyard. Work will continue on this as weather permits. And all our room numbers for security have been placed and they look really great. And I wanna add something, we love our new cards that just swipe. All our teachers have those, and we actually ordered lanyards for every teacher, or the faculty and staff, for those. So that's a great improvement. Our PTO will be hosting our second annual Valentine Glow Dance. It's tonight. It was for K through 8th grade. They were having a good time. Miss Debbie and I checked them before we left. The community engagement, our junior pro basketball and cheerleading teams, they have begun practicing and playing. We have a large number of students participating and learning great skills. There were over 200 within this program, so they have a big number this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Donetta. Any questions? Mr. Dickerson?
CCHS senior honor students were announced, and we had 24 students who were on the list. Aaron Meadows is the valedictorian, and Cooper Bailey is the salutatorian of CCHS class of 2025. Ms. Donetta was correct in the original number of vendors. It actually ended up being a little less due to some weather conditions we had. 45 vendors were represented at the CCHS gym for a college and career fair, and all students present that day attended the event. FBLA and FCCLA are having their dress-up days for school this week, so if you come around, you'll see a theme day in our student body. On January the 13th, Nate Adams joined the 1,000 point scoring club at CCHS against Macon County High School. Coach Rob Edwards was inducted into the Clay County Sports Hall of Fame on February the 1st, and our regular season for basketball programs comes to an end tomorrow night at Jellicoe.
Any questions for Coach G? Thank you, sir. I'm not missing Mr. Maxfield now. We do have a report there.
Mine's not quite as long as the other two. Kind of made me look bad. Anyway, 39 weeks progress reports were sent home this week. We'll be having our Valentine parties tomorrow. We want to thank the board for the ice cream that y'all donated. The kids really love that. And thank you all for that again. And Central Technologies is finishing up the new door system, getting our cameras all set up as well. Our girls softball and boys baseball teams are getting ready for their seasons. And as already mentioned, our eighth graders got to go to the high school and for the career fair, and it was a great experience.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for Mr. Maxfield? Ms. Monroe?
Yesterday, we had just an absolutely great career fair, with, again, 60 plus vendors. The county's 8th graders through the 12th graders got to attend, and it was a really good event. The best career fair that I've ever attended from any school. It was really good. Miss Amy Dotson and everybody else, all of you principals, everybody put everything together and did a great job. Today we had the best professional development day that I have ever attended in my nearly 100 years. It was on prevention of discrimination, bullying, harassment, and intimidation. We had attorney Chris McCarty out of Knoxville. We had 100% attendance from our teachers, and it was the most informative, the best educational experience I have done in the school system. It's good. We had our initial meeting one day last week for the new CTE building at Clay County High School. Construction is to begin as soon as weather permits, and is to be completed by August of this year. So that's really good news. And of course, the weather, you all know, could delay that. You all know that we have used 13 of our 13 inclement weather days. If you've looked at your phone for the forecast for next week, we might have some snow on Wednesday and Thursday. And if we do, we're gonna talk to the 3 principals to let the teachers know tomorrow. The next thing, if we have to use more days, we have 2 remote learning days. And that's where the teachers will have to send something home for the kids to do for 2 days. And we will use those if we have to use any more first. 2 of our days, the September day that we use, and the Friday that we had such a bad snowstorm were, states of emergency days in the state of Tennessee. You know, we don't know, the time is not here yet for us to make application to get those forgiven, so we'll just see how it goes, guys, and we'll keep you updated. And you all know that district basketball play begins next week. The district tournament will be in Livingston, and the last 2 games in the region will be in Livingston, right, Rob? And then spring sports has already begun. And so things are going well.
Any questions for Ms. Monroe? Mr. Upton, I want to say certainly glad to have you tonight, sir. Glad you're able to be with us, and we look forward to when you can be with us in person for sure.
Glad to be back.
We're glad to hear your voice on that.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Glad to hear y'all's voice.
Do we have any other new business that needs to be considered before the board?
I have been approached by quite a few parents and a few faculty members at our mid-spring school, and they have questions.
Okay.
And it's concerning leadership, and the direction of the school down there. They feel there's a lack of consistency, a lack of clarity, and most importantly, a lack of decisiveness in guiding issues that occur. Now, none of them bothered to show up tonight.
Right.
But they did ask me to bring this before the board. They feel like maybe some kind of development, some kind of assistance with the leadership down there needs to be pushed forward. This has been coming up now. It started back before Thanksgiving. So it's an issue you might want to address it.
I think, I'm guessing Ms. Monroe will, consider those things, but that starts, you know, we couldn't have addressed those folks tonight if they had come. I appreciate
I
the,
know that.
you know, because it's not an action item on the agenda.
They asked me to say something publicly. I've said something publicly.
That's
If they
your
ever
job.
wanna come down here and actually voice their issues, or give me more detail,
Right,
we can deal with it.
exactly.
But until they're willing to do certain things, can't do a whole lot. But I have met my obligation as a representative that I brought it to your attention.
Thank you, sir. Any other business needs? Yes, sir? A motion on the floor to adjourn, Mr. Second. Second by Mr. Wade. All in favor? Aye.